Hey my good friends, Sam Haymart with Test Driven TV. I have been testing the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E this week, and quite honestly, not very much has changed with this car since the last two times I've test driven it and done full reviews. But something important has. They have updated the hands-free driving software known as BlueCruise. And so today we're actually going to take it out on the freeway and test drive BlueCruise 1.3 in the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now, full disclosure, I am not an enthusiast of these systems. I am not somebody who is an early adopter of ADAS. These self-driving or passive self-driving hands-free systems don't excite me. I don't even use cruise control most of the time, even on long drives. I tend to be somebody who is a driver. You know, I was a race car driver. I want to control the car at all times. You call me old if you want. The technology, in my opinion, for the most part, just isn't quite where it should be. That said, I have tested BlueCruise before on the Mach-E a couple years ago when we first got our first test drive with one, and it was one of the better hands-free systems out there on the market. Now we've got two software releases later and they have improved it substantially, and so here we go. We are going down the Loop 303 just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, just slightly over the speed limit. And I'm going to set cruise control here. All of our systems are go. BlueCruise is on now. I've got the indicator on the instrument cluster, and it says be prepared to resume control. Now, there are a number of improvements that have been made for this version of BlueCruise. The first is that they have made a lot of refinements to it so that it works a lot smoother, and when you have curves in the road, it tracks those curves a little bit better. And so far, and I always have my hands on the wheel just slightly so I can feel what it's doing, it does track this curve with a little bit more accuracy than I remember it doing before, which means we're not motorboating back and forth in the lane like a log ride might do in that tub. It's not bouncing off each side and going back and forth, and the same is said for going straight down the road. We're not bouncing off the lanes as we track down the lane. One of the new features with 1.3 is lane change assist. So if I'm going along in this lane and I want to change lanes, and I'm even on a slight curve right here, I just tap the turn signal stalk. It looks to see if there's anybody next to me. There's nobody there, and it changes lanes automatically. I don't have to arrest control from BlueCruise and do a lane change. And it negotiates that just fine, even on a slight curve. One of the other benefits of this software upgrade is they say that it lasts 5 times longer. What that means is, with all of the roads that are now BlueCruise approved, it's a little bit more able to negotiate challenges such that in most cases it can be hands-free 5 times longer than before. And in previous generations, there were certain situations where it would just go, I can't handle this, take control. On the dash, there is an icon that says hands-free, and so far since we started this, it hasn't popped off. Now, we're coming up on some traffic here, and one of the other new features of this is that it will move you over slightly to one side of the lane when it detects that you're next to other vehicles, just like we would. And right now, it's slightly shifting over to the left side of this lane. It's not dead center because we've got that big rig next to us on the right, and we get past it and it just sort of subtly moved back to the center. I like that because instinctively as humans, we always tend to sort of move over a little bit when we're next to a big rig or we've got other traffic around us. Now I've got another big rig coming up behind me right now on the right, and as I'm going down the center of this lane on a curve, it moves me over just a little bit, even negotiating this curve. Now this has a number of other features, predictive speed control, and it's got complete ability to stop the vehicle if you have to. So if you get into stop and go traffic, it will do that. Some of the caveats are it has to be able to see the lanes. There have to be lane lines there, and there can't be too many challenges for the system to negotiate. I have found that interchanges sometimes can be a bit of a sticking point for this system. It doesn't quite know what to do in all situations. I have, however, negotiated an interchange during my week with this vehicle where I went from one freeway to the next, going around a curve, getting an off-ramp, and doing that. So it is capable in some cases. Obviously, there are limitations. If you take your eyes off the road too much, which I'm not going to do, it will ask you to take control. There's a sensor down here that keeps an eye on you, and if you start taking your eyes off the road and talking to passengers or doing other things besides generally keeping your eyes pointed forward, it will eventually just shut itself off. It'll ask you to take control nicely first, and it'll start stepping that up until it just goes off if you're completely asleep at the wheel, so to speak. And so it's not a system that wants you to completely check out. And I agree with that. You don't want to check out. And so, like I said at the beginning, I'm not a big fan of these systems. I'm just not. I still cannot let myself do this very often. I have to keep my hands like this. I'm still not comfortable just letting the car be 100% in control, especially when the traffic gets thick. Out here right now, there's nothing around me hardly at all. I can do this for a minute or two before I get nervous, but I have to say they have improved this quite well. It does work, and even me sort of looking around and having a bit of not always eyes on the road directly ahead of me, the system is working pretty well. I'm impressed with this new version. Yeah, BlueCruise 1.3. There you go. So I have an exit now. I'm going to take this exit. It's doing the lane change for me just right. And we're going to see how it behaves as we come to this off-ramp. Keep hands on steering wheel. Yep, it's asking me to take control. And I'm going to turn that off. So there you go, my friends, BlueCruise 1.3. While I said that I'm not a real big fan of these things, I'm still not. But this is one of the best ones I've ever tested so far. So it was before, and the improvements they've made on it have made it even better. So good going forward. All right, my friends, proof positive that I can do more than the standard 5-star test drive review. Now, it's worth pointing out that all of the hardware necessary for BlueCruise comes standard with every Mach-E, and it also comes standard with Ford F-150 as well as the Ford Expedition. It is an upgrade to have the BlueCruise. It's a software upgrade, and so it's something that you can get when you purchase the car, or you can always upgrade it later as a subscription. Keep it as long as you want or as short as you want. If you're like me, I'd probably let the 90-day free trial run out after I buy the car, and I would probably never keep it because I don't even use cruise control in any other car. I'm not wired that way. But if this is your bag, as I said, this is one of the best iterations of this system yet, and the new functionality with the lane change is particularly interesting to me, I think. I like it, because cruise control, you always slow down coming up to that person behind you that's going slow. With this, you can just tap that and it moves you right over, and then you can go back and so forth. Or if you have an interchange coming up and you're getting off the highway, you can just do that. So I really like the addition of that and the fact that it just works better overall. So now if you're looking for a full test drive of one just like this or the GT Performance, we have test drives out there on our Mach-E playlist, as well as other news pieces we've done on various models and special news. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel right down there and stay informed of everything we do. Either way, stay tuned.